All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely, always up for good mystery.
Well, today we've got one, it's a pretty interesting one. We're looking at two figures, Shikanoin Heizou and Yumemizuki Mizuki.
Those names ring a bell, vaguely. Refresh my memory.
Right, so Heizou, he's a detective, but not your run-of-the-mill type, you know. He's really into those super complex cases, prefers to use his brain power over, typical detective stuff.
So more of a thinker than a brawler. I like it.
Exactly. And then there's Mizuki. Now, she's a clinical psychologist, but get this. She can actually use these Anemo powers to, mess with people's dreams.
Ray, hold on. Manipulate dreams. That's wild. We gotta dig into that.
Oh, we will. I mean, our sources on these two are a bit all over the place. Research notes, logs, even a couple articles mentioning that they're both connected to. Right. Total mystery. But okay, back to Heizou. We know he hates those mundane cases, missing pets, affairs, all that jazz. This guy wants puzzles, wants to outsmart criminals using just his wits.
That's fascinating. It really implies he sees criminal behavior differently. Not just about catching bad guys, but understanding them, predicting their moves, almost like a chess match.
Yeah. And there's this quote. He says, "A true detective uses their smarts to outwit criminals at every single turn."
He sounds like he enjoys the challenge, the mental sparring with criminals.
Totally. But then you've got Mizuki dealing with dreams, this whole other world of the subconscious, and then she uses Anemo, which I'm still not entirely sure what that is.
From what I've gathered, Anemo is like the power of wind, energy. It's a fundamental force in their world. Mizuki's using it to shape dreams, which is mind-blowing, honestly.
It's like she's conducting an orchestra, but instead of music, it's dreams.
I like that analogy. But it gets even more interesting. Her elemental skill, Dream Drifter, lets her hover deal damage. I'm picturing her floating through this dreamscape.
Whoa, so it's not just passive observation. She's actively interacting with these dreams.
And she's also got these swirl reactions. Think of it like combining elements, like fire and water, to create something more potent.
So she's, mixing dream stuff, amplifying the effects or something?
Exactly. She's boosting her team's abilities by manipulating these reactions within the dream world. Talk about strategic thinking.
So we've got Heizou, all about strategy and deduction in the real world, and Mizuki doing the same, but with dreams and elements.
It's a fascinating parallel, right? Two completely different fields, yet they share this core approach of understanding the system and manipulating it to achieve their goals.
It makes that quote from Mizuki even more intriguing, where she says, "Frankly, I don't believe dream therapy works for everyone." Even with these crazy powers, she recognizes there are limits.
Definitely. Shows a certain humility and awareness that even with something as extraordinary as a memo, psychology is complex. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
So maybe Heizou and Mizuki are more alike than we initially thought. Both strategic, aware of their limitations. I'm really curious now.
Me too. The possibilities are endless.
So we're seeing these parallels, right? Strategy, limitations, all that. But what about their motivations? What drives these two?
Well, with Heizou, it seems pretty clear as this champion of justice. It's not just about the puzzles for him.
Yeah, it's like using his big brain to right wrongs, put those criminals in their place.
Exactly. And he's got to understand people, right? Why they do bad things. He even says that thing about people resorting to violence.
Oh yeah, this is their last resort. A failure of thinking things through.
Right. He sees violence as, giving up on finding a smarter solution. And that ties into him loving those complex cases.
He wants the challenge to prove that brain power beats, brute force every time.
Absolutely. But then there's Mizuki. Her motives, they're a bit more, hidden, mysterious.
For sure. I mean, we know she's a great psychologist, but there are hints of something deeper. Maybe even some personal struggles.
Remember that line about seeing things in dreams? Things that have no place in a normal life. That's got to be some heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like her dream powers, they came at a cost. She's seen some dark things, maybe even been touched by that darkness herself.
But she still uses her powers to help people, to heal. That's what's so powerful about her story, I think.
It's like she's fighting that darkness, bringing light to these troubled minds.
Precisely. So resilient. And don't forget how she uses those swirl reactions, amplifying her team's abilities, not just about her own power.
She's like a team player, boosting everyone up. Very different from Heizou's lone wolf kind of vibe.
A great observation. She understands that real power comes from working together, everyone contributing. Synergy, right?
Totally. So we've got Heizou, driven by justice, the mental challenge, and Mizuki wanting to heal, to empower. And somehow Mizuki's Yumemi-style special snacks. Snacks that can heal or damage enemies. Come on, that's just awesome.
Right. Weaponized baking. But seriously, it shows how adaptable she is. Dreams, elements, now snacks. It's all about control, precision.
But maybe there's a deeper meaning too, right? Healing and harming, like a duality within her.
Ooh, that's deep. Like she's recognizing the complexity of being human, the good and the bad in us all.
Exactly. So motivations, powers, even snack choices. We're getting a clearer picture. But how does it link a detective and a dream psychologist?
We're definitely onto something big here. I think as we dig deeper, we'll uncover a truth that's way more complicated, way more fascinating than we ever imagined.
Wow, this deep dive has really taken us on a wild ride, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We started with a detective who hates using force, loves using his brain, then a psychologist who can, literally shape dreams.
It's amazing how much we've learned just from, these little details. Like Heizou loving those complex cases shows us he's really driven by justice. And then Mizuki snacks, maybe those point to this duality inside her. It really shows how looking deeper can reveal so much.
Yeah, it's like piecing together a puzzle, right?
Exactly. Makes sense to me. You'd need a brilliant detective, someone who understands the mind for cases like that. They each bring something unique to the table. Imagine it. A detective's logic, a psychologist's insight, solving crimes that seem impossible.
Are there more people out there with powers like Heizou and Mizuki? What are they doing? What kind of challenges are they facing?
It's a question worth thinking about, for sure. Maybe our listeners have some ideas. We'd love to hear your theory.
Definitely. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Maybe together we can find some more clues. This deep dive's just the beginning, right? We've learned about deductions, dreams, elements, even the power of snacks. But there's still so much more to uncover.
It's been quite a journey. We've just scratched the surface of this world, but what a fascinating surface it is. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and you never know what amazing connections you might find.
Until next time, everyone.